This flayed one turned another Necron into a flayed one. Here's what happened. Shepherd's Check had just shot a sarcophagus by accident while he battled two flayed ones, and the glass shattered. The two abominations stopped where they were. They turned towards the Necron lying still and exposed in his coffin beside them, and, reaching out, ran their metal fingers over its exposed skeleton. One of the flayed ones bent over the sleeping Necron. It seemed that the creature was breathing into the face of the Necron in stasis, only it could not breathe. Then the abomination leaned further down into the casket, and, with the skin and flesh it had taken from Stryax, pressed its forehead against the sleeping Necrons, then pushed its face against it, mouth joined to mouth. Although the posture was the same, it was no kiss. The Necron began to tremble. Gently at first, barely perceptible to ordinary vision. The crystal fragments from its broken tomb that lay scattered over its prone form started to vibrate. The sleeping Necron was waking up. The second of the flayed ones, clad in torn human skin, was leaning over the prone Necron too, its body shaking as if in the grip of a fever. Through the ripped skin of its human face mask, it was looking down at what was happening. Its metal skull was immobile and incapable of expression, yet everything about its stance and attitude told Czech that it was gripped by a surpassing excitement, almost to ecstasy. The abomination bent over the sleeping Necron also began to tremble. Parts of Stryax that it had shoved into its body shook loose, falling to the floor. The sleeping Necron was now shaking through every part of its metal frame, its skull striking against its grave cushion in a drum rattle. The movement reached such a pitch that it blurred into Czech's sight. The flayed ones on either side of the Necron were shaking too, and their trembling, Czech realized, was coming into phase with the sleeping Necron. They were turning a creature already damned into something worse. They were turning it into another like them. The Necron's shaking had reached such a pitch that its whole body was drumming on the casket, setting off hundreds of jagged micro-rhythms, its movement a blur. In a final spasm, it arched, so that only its heels and its head touched the ground. It screamed. Its scream was metal. Its scream was the cry of the unliving desiring life. It screamed through the abominations away and onto the metal floor, where they crashed, spent and still. The prone Necron slumped down, flat in its coffin, and, for a moment, Czech thought it had broken under the pressure of what was being inflicted upon it. But then, the creature sat up. It sat up and swung its legs out of the casket. It sat up and looked across the space between them. It looked through the cover that Czech was using. It looked and it raised its hand and it pointed and it said in a voice of grating metal, "Flesh."